Hi, everyone. Hi, my name is Angela Tousley, and I am the director of El Dorado High School, and I've been the color guard director there for the last 10 years. And today we have two of my good friends, Ashley and Sergio, and they teach phenomenal programs here in the circuit. And so I just want to have them introduce themselves, and we'll get to know each other. And we're going to talk today about fundraising through this pandemic. So Ashley, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Ashley Porter. I am the color guard director at Great Oak High School. I've been there for 10 years, as well as the assistant director at San Diego State University. I marched places. I don't know. Do I talk about that?
You can if you want to.
I don't want to. That's it.
Okay, you good?
Okay.
All right. Sergio?
Hi, I'm Sergio Marquez Johnson. I am the color guard director at Vista Murrieta High School. I've been the director there now for 6 years. I can't believe the years have passed by so fast. I'm also a staff member at Vista Murrieta, so I work as a secretary and a teacher's aide on campus. So yeah, a little bit about me.
Awesome. So if you guys don't know, both of these people have some of the greatest programs in Southern California. And so we are just here to help you today to see anything that we can offer in terms of fundraising. Sometimes that can be a big challenge, and I think it's especially a challenge currently. So that's what we're going to talk about today. First of all, how are you guys doing? Everybody surviving okay?
I'm doing well. My family is safe and healthy, so that's my number one priority. And, you know, we're all in this together, so we'll take it one day at a time.
Same, I think my family's doing well. My other half is working from home, so our bedroom has become his home office lately. So we've been living two different lives. I live in the living room and he lives in the bedroom because he works most of the day. I'm currently not working right now just because we are in a pandemic, but we were also on summer break, so I'm also not working right now. So, but things have been going well. You know, we've just been locked indoors most of the day.
Have you guys started any rehearsals or anything with your groups?
I actually am doing summer sectionals, so they're every Tuesday and Thursday, and they run about an hour to an hour and a half, and our main focus right now is on movement and flexibility, as well as like a few weapon video assignments. So I've reached out to other members in our community who have made videos for my students for them to kind of challenge themselves in terms of performance and technique, which has been really great. And it's also helping just to keep them involved and engaged.
The way that our summer program works is we used to do a camp in June and then take July off and then start band camp and then school starts since our summers are really short. So that's kind of like what we did. So we did our June camp virtually. So we did a whole week, but there were only, instead of it being 8 hours a day, there were obviously only 3 hours a day because the kids can't keep, you know, online that long. So we did the best that we could to make it work with, I had each staff member come online and spend an afternoon with the kids, whether it was on flag technique, movement technique, demonstrating skills. And then my captains have done a really good job about communicating with the whole color guard between the June camp and now about rehearsals and rehearsal videos and stuff like that. So that's kind of like what we've been doing in regards to the summer program. That's
good. I know we've done, I think we did 3 weeks in June of Tuesday, Thursday, 2 hours. 2 hours is about like the limit of charging abilities on phones and computers and things. So, and we just started back up yesterday. So it's nice to see them. I think I hadn't seen them in 2 weeks. So, I mean, virtually see them, but see them.
Do you use Zoom or what do you use? Or Google
Yeah, we're
Classroom?
using Zoom.
You're using Zoom?
Yeah,
we had to use Microsoft Teams. And the only negative to it is, I mean, you both have big color guard programs. You know, I can't get 50 screens on. We could only use 9 screens. So I can't see all of them. So unless they're talking is when I can physically see them. And that's like a district thing. Like we're not allowed to use them. I wish we could, but we can't. So that was the only struggle, is that I've had to break the group up into like groups of 9 throughout the staff. And those 9 people would work with each staff member just because it's hard to get all of them, you know, on multiple screens.
We actually do that. Sorry,
Yeah.
Ashley, go ahead.
I was just going to say we've been between Google Classroom as well as Zoom. And I think the grid on Google Classroom, I like it a little bit more than the grid on Zoom. But I mean, both of those platforms work best. And our loophole to use Zoom was that we started it right after school got out. So it was like our summer thing. So once we start back during the fall season, we will go back to the Google Classroom. But we're going to try to find some sort of hybrid so that we can utilize both platforms.
Right.
We're using Zoom, but we're doing breakout rooms. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that.
Mm-hmm.
But it did help because what we found in the very first rehearsal was it was a bit overwhelming with the new kids and the returning kids that were at very different levels. And so what we did was we just separated them as returning and new, and the new kids are learning all the basics, everything, and the returning kids are kind of picking up where we were leaving off. So, and I am very fortunate that right now there are 4 of us on the Zoom. So we have one person teaching, the other person is like commenting, and then in the other room, the same thing is happening. One person is teaching and one person is giving feedback. Because it is hard to teach and watch what's happening. I found like I can't give any information if I'm teaching a dance class. I can't see them. So
Well, I mean, we all 3 of us march the same organization, and I am very hands-on. So like, I'm very like, no, you have to grab the flag like this, or you know, we do a movement class, you know, we're grabbing feet and adjusting arms. So I think that's been the hard part about doing things virtually, is that you can't do those things. You know, you can't get all those details. You're pretty much just teaching from the outside and working your way in. So it's a different concept, but I mean, at least it's connecting with the kids in some platform.
Right.
That kind of leads into the next topic that I kind of wanted to bring up, which is, you know, given that we're not able to see these kids, you know, a lot of people are thinking, or, you know, programs are cutting positions and things like that. And so I just wanted to maybe ask you guys, why do you think we're sort of important, and what are we using funds for? Why should we fundraise during this time?
Ashley?
I think, you know, I look at it and the perspective of this time will pass. You know, I don't think that we're going to be in this stay-at-home order for very long, and people are seeking a sense of normalcy. And that comes into the competitive marching band, performing arts, athletics, and we are a key component in the marching program, and that's where that's why I guess we should continue to get paid so that we can keep the programs moving through this sort of paused period.
I'm fortunate that I work at a school that athletics and performing arts kind of coincide. So when athletics are hurting, we're hurting, and vice versa. So right now we're all in the same boat where we can't do what we want to do. So I'm like Ashley, I'm just hopeful that, you know, this will go away in a few months and we can slowly get back into it. I will admit that what used to be our normal is never going to be our normal again. I think that we're going to do things differently, but you know, it's for the safety of our students. Now, I think it's important that people like us still get paid, because band directors usually can't do what we do, you know, on the social, emotional, and, you know, levels that we
Even
work with our
technical
kids
levels.
and technical levels that, you know, we do. They can't do those things. So I think that we're highly needed to keep going, because I would hope that most of our programs are classes, you know, or class periods. So like, for example, I have a class period. So without me in the classroom, they really can't do anything. So I think it's important that people like us are still, what's the word I'm looking for? Help me.
Necessary, needed?
Needed. People like us are still very needed.
Yeah, I was trying to think about this with my husband earlier today, and you know, I said, well, besides instruction, like what else do we need money for? And you know, we still want to have warm-ups. The kids want to still feel that sense of uniformity and inclusion. And so I feel like at least spirit wear or something like that, you know, is still important. And we still need equipment, whether it's a rifle or saber or flag, like practice flags are still needed. And I really do honestly feel like, I don't know, like maybe it's like our sense of responsibility to help these kids continue to feel like we are a community and that they still have a place to turn to, even though we're not necessarily getting to perform in the way that we used to, at least right now. So I told the kids every day, I want you to wake up and say, what are the things that I can do, instead of, oh man, I don't get to do these things this year. Like, well, maybe there's something that's really awesome that we couldn't do before because we were busy doing something competitive or whatever at this time. Maybe there's something we can wake up every day and say, like, wow, there's all these other opportunities that we never would have thought of because we weren't thinking outside the box, you know?
Mm-hmm. And you can't take for granted, like, what you have and what you don't have. I mean, the financial part is very important. So whatever you need to do to keep it going, or even to recycle things that you have, you know, maybe for kids that didn't get to use those things, maybe you use those things again. It's kind of like what I'm pushing towards is, you know, on top of having to fundraise if I have to, and I'm going to need to, but also reusing some stuff that maybe, you know, is not as worn, just to get us through the year, and make the kids realize that, you know, it's important to still be able to use things that you had in the past. Just because it's not brand new doesn't mean that it's not worthwhile, I guess you could say.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, Angela, I think my program is kind of moving in the direction that you were just discussing in terms of, you know, inclusion and getting the students spirit wear and making sure that they feel a part of the program and that they are, you know, being a key contributor to continuing whatever capacity that they can. And one thing that I kind of implemented this year, I have like social media editors. So they are constantly like in communication like with the students and like trying to get more of the community on board as to what we're doing virtually and engaging with them.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think bringing in those leadership and just kind of being honest with them, like, hey guys, we need some ideas out there to bring those kids in. Because I don't know if you guys have had this happen as well, but I've had a ton of kids drop, you know, over the summer, or like just after auditions, like, oh, hey, my mom said I can't do this anymore, or, you know, whatever the case is. We've definitely seen a decline in how many kids we have. What about you guys?
Yeah, I've had some students who have like just stopped showing up to the Google Classroom, but they're like emailing like, I still want to be a part of it. So, you know, I'm just kind of letting things ride. Like, I'm not saying like they're out or they're in, you know, because I don't know like psychologically, emotionally, like how they're feeling at this time. Maybe it's not the best time for them to be on, you know, our video chats and things like that, and to be working with us virtually. But yes, there has definitely been a decline in the numbers. But I at the same, like, as I'm getting those emails, I have kids who at the beginning of the year were like, oh, I'm not going to be returning, but now they are. So it's, you know, a give and take on any day.
I would say since when we had June camp, I think I took 51 in the fall, and I think 50 showed up to June camp. And since then, I haven't heard anything yet, but it's not that we haven't communicated with them. They've been on vacation, so I haven't really, I'm not there yet. Like, I don't know if anybody has quit or anybody's planning to quit. I'm thinking that if we continue on a real level, I think that if we continue what we're doing in regards to virtual learning, that I might lose a couple here and there. But so far, so good. Everybody's still on board.
Oh, that's great. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I think we were kind of in an interesting spot, you know, with our team, but I think we've lost 3 or 4 since since May or June.
Hmm.
So just for random different things, some people moving or, always something, but.
I will say that I don't know how you guys did it, but we we pair the older kids with the younger kids and to communicate with them, and we asked them if their parents were okay with them, practicing together at a park, maybe with a mask on, that if that was acceptable, if they would. Many parents have been on board, but some have not been. Some have been more like, well, can they text each other? Can they make videos? So I think that some parents are seeing both sides to it and are trying to accommodate as best as possible. So I'm fortunate to have parents and students that are able to do those things, because the one thing that I'm not able to do is work one-on-one with the kids. So the fact that I have a senior working with a freshman at least alleviates that a little bit.
That's very helpful for sure. I know. I wish that we had done that maybe a little sooner. We just kind of started. We did start with there's a couple kids who reached out to us. It's like, can you just send me somebody to help me? A kid who's never spoken before. So definitely, I see them on Zoom. They group up, and it's what's nice about them grouping up is that they're always in the same group. So it actually helps me, like, contact tracing is real easy if something were to come up, and I'm sure they arranged that with their parents. I certainly didn't have anything to do with it, but it is nice to see them, at least have a few of them. There's usually 2 or 3 together. So.
And in this period of like not being able to work, at least some of us, like, I don't know if you guys can put it out there, but I sent an email to all my parents and offered private lessons for my whole staff. And I talked to my staff about, maybe charging so much if they do it via Zoom and just one-on-one, or if they travel to their home and set up a situation where they wear a mask and they stay 6 feet apart. And some parents have been on board on it. So that kind of helps the staff a little bit make some money on the side, since we're not really working right now. So I don't know if that's a possibility for some other programs to do, to reach out to their families that can be able to afford those things. Because I know a lot of people have been hard hit with not working and all that.
Yeah, that's a great idea, though.
Mm-hmm. I was just going to bring that up as we further discuss fundraising, but yeah, private lessons is definitely a go-to if you are having to cut staff members. I know for our drumline in particular at Great Oak, we, let go of the percussion staff, and there's a very big staff, and the program is great. The kids are great. So they were actually able to take home their drums, their marimbas, like the front ensemble kids were able to take their equipment home. And so private lessons are that's their jam right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's awesome. So kind of going into some of those fundraising things, have you guys started any fundraisers since the pandemic started?
We're going to start, I'm thinking, right at the beginning of August is where we're trying to start some people, we call it a fundraise genius, but some people used to call it snap raise.
Oh, okay.
So I think that we're starting that one up pretty soon. It's kind of hard, honestly, in the pandemic to do it, just because it's hard to find ways to manage the way that you're going to present it out to a community that maybe doesn't have the funds to come up with that type of money, or that can't afford that kind of stuff. So we're trying to be sensitive to it, but in order for us to keep moving forward, we're going to have to do some type of fundraisers. I think our first one coming up is going to be a fundraise genius, which is one where the kids give emails of, certain family members or businesses, and they send out an email, with pictures and a video of your program, asking for donations. That's kind of like the first step that we're taking towards that.
Right as school was ending, we had already set up a summer fundraiser with a local restaurant. And so they were able to stay open as things were being shut down. And we were able to collect a percentage of those funds for people who obviously attended with a flyer for takeout orders. So that was really cool. And it's something that we are still seeking out within our community of businesses that are stable and some that are even thriving during this time. So we're definitely trying to manage that and stay in close contact to continue those fundraisers moving forward. Another thing that my boosters have just recently come up with is they're doing the lawn signages. I don't know if you guys have seen those, but like they have like this big flamingo thing that's really popping off this summer. So you pay like X amount of dollars and they'll go and stick flamingos in people's yards, whether it be like a happy birthday, a graduation, a retirement, or just an act of love and kindness. And it's contactless, so no, they don't have to talk to anyone or anything like that. And the sign stays up for 24 hours and they pick it up in the middle of the night and it's done. So that's been kind of like our jam, and we're trying to pick up on that because we do have a large community here in Temecula and it's growing so fast. So we're just hoping that that can kind of be an ongoing thing during the pandemic, as well as when things kind of go back to whatever the new normal is.
I didn't know you guys were doing that. We're doing that too at El Dorado.
Nice.
Yeah, it's been super fun. I love, we created a little hashtag or whatever so they could tag us. And it's been super fun to just see, birthdays and like you said, just love and care. So that's awesome. Yeah, we're going to do it through July, all of July and all of August. We actually started a little earlier because people were like, hey, can you do it for June?
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. So, but yeah, I love that it's contactless. That's awesome. Another one, there are a couple others that we've been doing. One of them being something called Script. I don't know if every program has a Script program, but it can be contactless. And so that was one thing that I liked. And I liked that it really didn't cost the parents or whoever extra dollars. Like I'm not spending anything more than what I really would have spent on groceries anyway. So the program is pretty cool. We're going to give you links to some of these ideas that we have so you can check them out afterwards. But yeah, one of them is called Script, and basically you can get a percentage back of whatever it is, and they have bonus times. And it can be virtual. So one of the things that I think is awesome is that, like, for Christmas last year, I was standing in line at Old Navy and I was like, oh, I think this is going to be about $100. And so I was able to purchase an gift card right there, and they were having like an extra deal. So I think 12% went back to whichever student, or I could make it for the whole program, however you want to do it. But all I had to do was I put in a little code on my phone and then I showed it to the cashier and she rang it up and boom, my program got 12% back. I paid for my stuff. It didn't really cost me anything extra to do it. So that's definitely one thing that I was trying to think about, like, okay, how many ways and how many ideas do we have that are contactless? I think that's important. What other ideas do you guys think that you may have or your program is going to be using in the future while we're headed into this contactless life?
Yeah, my boosters are still on like summer break, so we're gonna get things kicking back up here in the next couple weeks and kind of see what they come up with. I am one, I just kind of sit in on things and we kind of brainstorm them all together. I know getting sponsorships for our website is going to be huge this upcoming semester, as well as still, again, reaching out to restaurants during this time because they need the business just as much as we need the fundraising, so working together and making that a community event within the band program and even other programs within your high school, I think will benefit everyone.
Definitely.
We've been on the same boat. I think our boosters have been on break or just kind of been on hold since we went on the pandemic or a little bit after that. But I know that we've still been trying to do like our eat out Tuesdays or Wednesdays, and a certain percentage goes back to a company or does go from the company goes back to us. So like we use like Dunkin' Donuts does it for us, for proceeds from that day go to our program. Different restaurants like Chipotle or The Habit or Chick-fil-A, so we've been trying to do that. And I think that that's something that we're probably going to keep doing. And a lot of the time it's cool because the band kids usually go after rehearsal. So I'm hoping that if we're still in this stay-at-home order, that, instead of, ordering through Postmates or something, that they could go to the actual restaurant to drive through and they could still use the code so that the organization gets money from that.
Yeah. And I found that a lot of family-owned businesses, they're going to be way more willing to, work with us during this time and getting those fundraisers going so that they can also like keep their businesses afloat. So it's kind of a win-win if you have those small businesses, mom and pop shops close to you, really reach out to them, reach out, to smaller companies in your community. I think that's very important.
Yeah, that's a good point. I know a lot of those restaurants are looking for that extra boost and that extra help too. So that's awesome. Oh, I had a couple other ones that are contactless, some ideas. Have you guys heard of mixed bags?
No.
Okay, so mixed bags is essentially like it's like a catalog or something, but they offer things like totes, like grocery totes, or things to organize your car or to organize your pantry. Sometimes they sell kitchen gadgets and things like that. The wonderful thing about mixed bags is that it's 50% back to your program. So it does tend to be just a little bit more than what you would normally buy. But if I know that 50% goes back to my program, I'm like, okay, I'll spend the extra $2 on this item. And so that is a good way if somebody's looking to purchase something. I know not everyone right now can afford to do that, but that is one, and it can be contactless. You can do it all online. So that was a good one. And then I had another one. My husband talked to me about something called gazelle.com. Have you heard of that one?
No.
So gazelle.com will take your old iPhones, Samsung phones, iPads, like Macs, what else did he say? Google phones, and they'll give you money for them.
Oh, I have a couple then.
See? But you could do a fundraiser, essentially, collecting all of those things and then turn them in for your program. So I thought that was pretty cool. And one I don't think that I've heard of before. And definitely everybody's got old stuff hanging. I probably have 3 iPhones hanging around here somewhere,
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
So I thought that one was cool. And then one idea I kind of I stole it from someone else, but that's okay. You can do a challenge, like maybe we're going to do some way to raise funds, but you would challenge maybe the groups in your band. So this section versus this section versus that section, to help raise funds. So like keep it competitive and keep kids like excited about trying to raise more money. I know at El Dorado, we do this thing called, what is it called? Now I don't remember. Oh, Penny Wars. Oh my gosh, this thing is crazy. I don't know that we'll be able to do it right now because we won't be in person, but Penny Wars, essentially a penny is a positive point towards your group, your section, and then anything that's not a penny, so a quarter, a nickel, a dime, a dollar, whatever, that's a negative point to you. So if you want to sabotage another section, you're going to put like $5 in their jar. And in order to counterbalance that, you have to put in $5 worth of pennies. So they get real crazy over at El Dorado. They'll put in like $100 bill in the color guard jar all the time. Like,
and then there's like they have like for the winner, they do like, something special for them.
Yes, exactly. Like a pizza party.
People always try to sabotage the color guard.
I know. Why?
Because we bring in a lot of pennies. So like, people think it's unfair because we're the biggest section. So they try to take us out, but we always win in the end. I think we've won the last 4 years.
We get
so that is a really good one.
Hard.
It's fun. It's so fun.
It is a fun one.
Now, how would you do that like in a virtual space?
That's a good question. I was thinking about, how people did the icebox challenge or is that not icebox? What is it?
Ice
bucket.
Ice bucket.
Oh, yeah. I see where you're going.
Ice box, ice bucket. I thought like maybe, you could tag somebody in your Instagram or in your Twitter to challenge them maybe to do something. And maybe that's not even like a fundraising thing. Maybe that's like a performance thing or like, hey, hey, Vista Marietta Color Guard, like we challenge you to a 5 turnaround or something, just to keep it like
Oh yeah.
fun.
Mhm.
So it may not have anything to do with fundraising. I don't know. Just an idea. Maybe there's a fundraising idea in there.
We usually do once a month. We used to do recycling. So like the entire program would bring in the recycling, and then, we would take out 30 minutes of the kids. If that was a Saturday rehearsal, we would take out 30 minutes of the kids' rehearsal, and they would like separate the cans from the plastics and all that stuff. But I know that we can't do that right now. But I mean, maybe if families still did the recycling and took the recycling in and saved that money and donated it to the band, they could do that too in some type of way.
Yeah.
I know that's what Pete and I have been doing. We've been, Costco sells like bottled water for like $3. So we've been buying bottled water lately. So I've accumulated since the pandemic happened, about 10 bags of water bottles. So I think we're going to recycle them.
The water bottles.
I know. Don't judge me. I know. I watched the
Get
show.
a hydro flask.
but we're going to recycle it and donate it to the band.
Good. I'm glad you're recycling. We still have yet to recycle all of our water bottles. They are literally still sitting in the tubes that they were in the day we left. So I know
that makes me so sad.
One of my moms is like, go ahead. I'm sorry, Sergio.
Oh no, keep going. I'm sorry.
Oh, just one of my moms said like, can we turn in those water bottles, or are you gonna use them again? I was like,
oh, too soon.
Yeah.
See, I know it's different from each program and how they do funding, but in our particular situation, our fundraising committee, they're highly driven, and a lot of them are like business owners and things like that in the community. So I don't know.
Ours is a dictatorship in a sense, where like the boosters do everything. They don't want the staff to be involved at all. The only reason I feel like I'm involved is because I'm in it to win it with the color guard. Like I need them to thrive. So I put my nose in sometimes where I don't need to. So in the fall though, we fundraise for the fall based on what the booster decides. So there's no fundraisers that go towards color guard in the fall. And we'll do, the Seas Candy, the field shows and all that, but they govern that. They make the decisions on that. In winter, I have a budget like Ashley, and it's like, what is my dream budget? And then what is more likely to happen? And within that, we have to do 5 fundraisers that season. And I help with those 5 fundraisers, deciding what they're going to be.
A while back, probably right when we started going to WGI, I said, well, I need to be able to fundraise like the whole year for the Winter Guard budget. So that's kind of when it started, where we just had to basically fundraise. The kids they have to participate in the booster fundraisers, obviously, but we are able to have our own. And I have the kids start paying in June because that's 2 months. June and July are 2, because otherwise they wouldn't start till August. And like, that means their like monthly payments would be like $550. My car payments wouldn't be that, like. So I felt like if I spread it out 2 additional months and we provided opportunities for them to individually fundraise beyond what the marching band can give them, that would significantly help our bottom line. And we're usually able to raise like $10,000 outside of the individual kids fundraisers. So that's good.
Well, there's something to be said in that, Angela, like being like that involved and engaging like with your students on that level of finances, because a lot of the times boosters will shy you away from, don't have those conversations, or you don't need to be involved in this. But I think in order for you to get the product that you want and your kids to get what you think that they feel that they need, you have to get that involved. Like I feel like just from this conversation, I'm like, I got more work I need to do.
Oh, I feel that way too. Like after listening to you guys, there's so much great stuff you've provided for me. Like, oh man, I need to step that up. Like that. I think these conversations are so important,
Which is the vehicle that we were about to take, because what you just said is what it was like to try to even go somewhere with this in Marietta. We had to pay off the fall. So whatever the kids pay in the fall starts in August, and they finish their last payment in November, and then winter starts in December. But you're right. It's, in order for it to happen, parents had to pay between $300 and $500 for it to work. And I presented to the boosters, other schools pay all year long. Can we do something with the color guard where they start paying in June and go all the way through the year? That way it's cheaper on the parent or less for the parent. And they said yes. So we were about to do that before the quarantine happened.
Well, thanks you guys so much for doing this. I hope it helps lots of you out there do this WGSC thing with amazing fundraising ideas, and just know that we're all here. You can reach out probably to any of us if you have any questions or want any help. I'll include everyone's email addresses in case you just want to ask us some questions. So thank you for joining us today.
Bye. Stay safe
Thank
and healthy.
you. Bye.
Thanks, guys.